So I wanted to talk about the unfortunate anomaly that is the 2021 NASCAR Cup schedule. We know now that the originally scheduled race at Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California has been moved to the Daytona Road Course. I mean, it's somewhat understandable that during the pandemic you wouldn't want a total personnel of hundreds of people trekking to your state having the risk of sparking a virus outbreak in the vicinity of Southern California. But how about we be consistent with these so-called restrictions and not making exceptions for things that accommodate for your financial gain and convenience? But my main question is, why the Daytona Road Course? I mean, we tried this experiment last year and it didn't exactly turn heads. You had about 3 to 4 cars that consistently ran up front and one driver basically run the show. So now to start off the year we get Daytona Road Course with the Busch Clash, the Daytona 500, and the Daytona Road Course. Yay. If I'm NASCAR, how about, any other track? They could have scanned the country for dozens of options, starving for an event with little preparation, but instead they play it safe and go somewhere they barely have to lift a fingernail. I know the 2021 season is the lame duck year for the Gen 6, but this is an opportunity the way I see it with all the other radical changes taking place throughout the schedule. If you want to get people's attention, what's bringing back a snoozer of a race at a location that already hosts a week of action leading up to the biggest race of the year, and then the newly implemented last race of the regular season in the game? To me, this devalues Daytona. This makes NASCAR overstay their welcome, which is the last thing you want to do to the sport's most storied and sacred ground. I know it's a one-year exception, but when you're trying to grow the interest among casual viewers, time is of the essence. What other options are there, you might ask? How about Worldwide Technology Speedway, also known as Gateway, in Madison, Illinois? That facility is as race-ready as ever and has hosted Truck Series and NHRA events in recent history. This is a fairly unique, true oval with barely any banking and would involve less throttle time and more driver skill. Short notice, maybe, but with little to no fans expected, what's the big issue? Another option, Oil Raceway, formerly known as IRP. The short track sitting just outside the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, it was abandoned by NASCAR at the end of 2012 when it was announced the Xfinity Series would move to the big track. This is a fun, old-fashioned short track that lots of drivers came up through the ranks making a name for themselves on. Fans for years have been dying for more short track racing. How about this? Now the capacity at the track is only 30,000, but again, when there's little and no fans expected, that shouldn't be an obstacle big enough to axe this idea. Hell, the SRX series announced it would be racing there next summer, so it seems race ready to me. Add in the fact that it would quench the short track thirst we've been begging to, and it's the whole package. Also, why can't we just give another race date to an already active track on the schedule? There's several tracks that got a race date taken away from them, some for better or worse, but it doesn't seem that far-fetched. Yes, Michigan lost a race date, which gives off the idea car manufacturing companies don't have the same relationship with NASCAR of the past, but how about compromising the market and fan base of that area by giving them a bonus date that they already deserve in the first place? Speaking of bonus races, Texas Motor Speedway happened to lose a date itself by virtue of the Circuit of the Americas getting granted its debut for NASCAR. Is the racing great? Absolutely not, but is it worse than the Daytona Road Course? I don't think so. It's definitely not the best option out there, but it's easy to make happen and wouldn't take any effort. I know this is all hypothetical and there's nothing we can do about it now, but to say the least, I'm disappointed that NASCAR went the safe route here and just seemingly reopened the wound that was the Daytona Road Course race, piled on top of an already exhausting schedule of the track to begin with. It seems overdone, stale, and will likely draw really low ratings, and the last thing the sport needs is that. Got any other ideas that could have been better? Leave them in the comments below. By the way, I left out Kentucky and Chicagoland for obvious reasons. You don't want to go 15 rounds with the inept politicians of Illinois and come crawling back to a horrendous racetrack that you shunned just months ago. Now we move on to one of the elephants in the room, the newly proposed Bristol dirt race. Sure, Fox and SMI were looking for answers to boost the dreadful ratings of a spring Bristol race. Why has this race suffered in ratings and attendance? Beats me. Some say the weather is never ideal, and to a degree it makes sense, but since when does that stop people from attending a great racetrack? I guess the glam and sexiness of the night race under the lights with sparks flying takes away the spotlight of the March date, but it's the same freaking track. There have been plenty of great moments in races in the Bristol Spring Race, and it's a classic short track that racing fans all over America love. The biggest issue with this idea are possible equipment upgrades that may need to be made in order for the cars to successfully compete on a dirt surface, some of which smaller teams can't afford or will have to break the bank to acquire. Also, this isn't the 70s and 80s anymore. A majority of the Cup Series field does not have a dirt racing background, meaning you'll see about 25 to 30 guys look like a fish out of water while the select few that know what they're doing will dominate the event from start to finish. Some may call this entertainment, I call it suppressing the full potential of most of the drivers. Now, I want to get into the whole road course movement. Listen, I get that road courses can mix up the competition and basically put 40 cars into a blender and see who comes out in one piece, but the fact that we've even gotten to that concept alone is not a good thing. And maybe this idea would have been better 5 to 10 years ago, but when you got a guy by the name of Chase Elliott existing, it's fair to assume he will regularly be making trips to victory lane at these events like it's his job. Oh wait, it is his job. Anyway, with the emergence of his road course dominance, I think this movement will quickly become stale faster than the intermediate track epidemic, and fans will learn to appreciate oval racing more. And I'm definitely not a road course hater. I think some quality racing takes place at Sonoma and Watkins Glen, but like I said earlier, you want these drivers showing their full talent and potential, and at most road courses you won't be getting that. Stock cars don't naturally fit with these formats, and even with a Gen 7 car being more equipped to handle them, NASCAR doesn't need to abandon the oval program and cause the product to suffer even more. NASCAR's identity has always been ovals. It separates itself from other motorsports with this. If I wanted to watch consistent road course racing, I'll go watch IMSA, Supercars, or IndyCar. Now, for the 1.5 mile track case, I understand the product has tapered off and the racing has suffered in the last 2 to 3 years, but that time frame is not an accident. This track format has gotten an unfair rep lately, and it's not because of its presence on the schedule. It's obviously the package. Think about all the great races and finishes we've seen over the years at places like Atlanta, Charlotte, Vegas, and Texas. It can be done. NASCAR needs to quit giving in to manufacturers' wants and quit bogging down the engines and keeping aero dependency in play, and free the cars up, put it back in the driver's hands. But that's beating a dead horse. Finally, can we admit that the NASCAR-Indianapolis relationship is over? The sudden move from the famed 2.5 mile oval to the clockwise road course layout is a damning move in this debacle. Ever since the 2008 tire meltdown, fans have all but abandoned stock car racing at the facility, and nothing at all has brought them back. Even if fans were allowed at the 4th of July event in 2020, you wouldn't see a noticeable gain in attendance. The oval and race altogether has long been overdue to end. Now to me, I really want to see all 3 series go back to IRP and do whatever it takes to accommodate everyone to fit in. But if that doesn't work, it wouldn't really hurt my feelings for NASCAR to leave the city once and for all. There's other fish in the sea. Again, leave y'all suggestions in the comments on what the ideal schedule for a time period like this in the sport. It's important to collaborate and get a feel for what everyone is thinking. Thanks for listening to the event. Y'all have a kick-ass week. Be sure to like and subscribe like your life depends on it. My name is Ryan, and this has been a Platinum Paradise video.